Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Lake County. We are an inclusive, non-creedal fellowship that works for a just community and fosters a lifelong search for personal spiritual fulfillment. Here at UUCLC, we value making a difference in ourselves, our community, and even our world. I'm Janine Reagan, and I'm honored to be your service leader this morning. Reverend Byrd Tetzlaff will be delivering our sermon today, and it's entitled Mindfulness. But first, we have some announcements. Be sure to check out this week's service bulletin attached to your Sunday service email. There are many UU activities and groups meeting on Zoom this week, and now is the time to make a difference by getting involved in some of these committees and some of the groups. We have many that are very active and certainly could need your help. As we start to reopen, even more opportunities will become available. In fact, some of our committees and groups will be moving back into the building in October. We will let you know as soon as the decision is made about the services moving back into the church. That's certainly been a difficult decision to make in light of COVID. But for now, we continue on Zoom. We ask that you remain muted during most of the service unless you are called upon to share. If you are interested in receiving our weekly bulletin or learning more about us, please send an email to office@uulakecounty.org, which is our new address, or leave us an email in the chat so we can contact you. Our service is being recorded, except for the joys and concerns and the discussion period that follows the service. You will find this service and several of our earlier services on our YouTube channel, UUCLC Office, but you can also find them on our new website, www.uulakecounty.org, as well as in our bulletin. The chat box on Zoom is open. You may take some time at this point early in the service to enter a joy or concern, which is just too tender to speak out loud, and it will be read during that part of the service. Today, immediately after the service, we will have our discussion time, which offers you a chance to comment on the service topic and ask questions of Reverend Byrd, or discuss any other topic that's on your mind. Does anyone else have announcements today? If so, please wave your hand and someone will call on you. Oh dear. Do we have any?
Jane Hefting has her hand up.
Good morning, everyone. I think you've heard me talk about the North Lake County Hospital District before. They fund indigent care for residents in the North Lake District. And the board at a preliminary hearing recently voted 0 millage, which would mean the funding will eventually just end. But that was a preliminary hearing, and the final hearing is this Thursday. And I plan to attend in the hopes that they can somehow reverse that first vote and provide adequate funding for indigent health care. The meeting time is 5:30, so that's this Thursday, 5:30, and it's in the on the second floor of the admin building in Tavares. So that's the round building. So I hope to see some of you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane, and thanks for the work that you do on this. Anyone else? Welcome to all. And if you are a first-time visitor or perhaps returning after an absence, if you're comfortable doing so, I invite you to wave your hand at the camera and someone will call on you. At that point, you can unmute and tell us who you are and where you come from. Anybody out there today?
Susan.
I'm sorry.
Do we have someone?
Hi, I'm Susan Zingali Byrd, and I've been here in Lake County for a year. will be beginning October 1, and I've met a few of you through some committee work, but this is actually my first service. And I came here from Philadelphia. So hi.
Welcome, Susan.
Yes, welcome.
Welcome. I was happy to see that there was a UU chapter here in Lake County. That was very exciting. I'm sorry I'm so dark. I have no idea, and I can't make it any lighter. I apologize. I'll figure it out. There's somebody else waving.
Do we have someone else? If there's no one else, we'll move on. And today we welcome back Reverend Byrd Tetzlaff. Reverend Byrd has been with us several times during our time of virtual services. She comes to us from South Bend, Indiana. Reverend Byrd is a retired UU minister who maintains an animal ministry and does her art in the form of beautiful mandalas. She is also providing pastoral care for our congregation. You can call or email Reverend Byrd if you would like to talk to a minister on a one-to-one basis. You can contact her by phone to talk, or you can set up a Zoom meeting with her. Her number and email are available today in the chat box. Reverend Byrd will now offer our opening words.
Welcome to this time and place. We gather in fellowship to share a moment of our lives, to see remembered faces, hear beloved voices, and to welcome new friends. We are so fortunate. We have so many blessings. Let us give thanks for all the good things we experience. And now to light our chalice. I don't see me on the spotlight, so I'm only guessing whether or not you can see this.
Are you in speaker view, Byrd?
I'm in speaker view.
Okay, I have you spotlighted.
Okay. We light this flame as a symbol of our community, of the time we set apart to be together, to grow in understanding, and to appreciate the wisdom that each one of us brings.
Each Sunday, we make time for those who wish to offer a joy, a concern, or a sorrow, or to set an intention for a coming day. This portion of our service will not be recorded. Please join me in reaffirming who we are by reciting together our congregational covenant found on the screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. It is our practice to give generously to our church as we are able, and keeping in mind both its meaning in our lives and its impact on the world. We are thankful to all who provide financial support to UUCLC. In order to continue our virtual services and keep our beautiful building protected and ready for our return, we ask for whatever financial support you can provide. There are multiple ways to do this, which are found on the slide in the Sunday service bulletin or in your UUCLC website. You can also donate from a link in the chat box. Thank you for your donations today.
Since this service is about mindfulness, I thought I'd like to try something a little different from what I usually do at this time. I do invite you to get comfortable. If we were in a church setting right now, we would all be sitting upright in pews or chairs. But that may not be your situation right now. You may be on a couch or an easy chair, perhaps in a bed. Wherever you are, become aware of what it is that supports you. Relax whatever you can. Be aware of the place that you are. Aware of lightness and darkness, colors that are around you. Are there smells? What are the sounds you hear? What are the textures you feel? Are you warm, cool, comfortable? Become aware of this moment. And I invite you now to become aware of yourself as a unique, unrepeatable being. Remember, you are one of a kind, with gifts and insights like no other. You understand things through the filter of your own life, which no one else has experienced. You are so creative in so many different ways, and you choose when and how to express that creativity. You can choose to bring joy into your own life and the lives of those around you. You have it within you to love deeply, to see goodness, to be thoughtful in ways that are unique to you. You matter. And now it is time for our first hymn.
Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
I'd like to share with you why mindfulness is on my mind these days. About a year ago, I had the privilege of getting a pen pal from the Worthy Now program that our Church of the Larger Fellowship runs. It's a way of connecting folks who are in prison with people on the outside, because connections, human connections, are so valuable for all of us. I've done prison ministry before, but that was in person, face to face. This was different. We had to communicate by letters at first, and letters take a long time to exchange. You miss a lot of the visual cues from face-to-face communication. For the first of my 6 months with him, my pen pal didn't know if I was male or female, because the name Byrd doesn't really tell you much, and he was a bit hesitant to ask. But now it's working better, because it's possible for us to talk on the phone, and we soon will even be having video visits. I'm looking forward to that, because I really enjoy talking with him, and he brings a new perspective to my life. He was pre-screened by CLF, and they just happened to match me with a fellow who's very interested in Eastern religions. Now, I do know a little about Eastern religions, but not a lot. I took the required courses in seminary, and I have a couple of friends who practice meditation or Tai Chi daily. In fact, many years ago, I even took a course in meditation, but sadly, I've not used it in decades. So knowing this fellow was a bit of a challenge, because I had to brush up on Eastern thought. Now, in particular, my prison friend was really trying to figure out mindfulness, a very Eastern concept. And he was looking at how it might make his situation better. It should be noted that the mindfulness referred to here is not just the meditation, but rather the ongoing attitude of paying attention. It is about being aware of the here and now, your surroundings, and acknowledging whatever it is you're feeling. And it is about not judging yourself or anyone else. And surprisingly, when I looked it up to get a good definition for this service, one further aspect was really emphasized: the concept of kindness. Kindness to yourself and kindness to others rather than judging. I had not realized how important that is to mindfulness, but it makes sense. I remember a time when I was on a local bus along with many other passengers, including a mother with a very loud infant. And folks were getting quite irritated with the noise, moving as far away as they could, giving the mother dirty looks. Now, if at that time I was being mindful, I would have recognized there was not a blessed thing that poor mother could do. She was frazzled and embarrassed and felt powerless in the situation. I would have seen that the child was frustrated and unhappy and had no other way to express it. And I would have seen that my fellow passengers were tired from a long day at work and just wanted to get home to some peace and quiet. I would have noticed all of that had I been mindful at the time, not judging anyone, just holding kind thoughts. There were no bad guys, just tired and grumpy folks who were longing for a little peace and understanding. I might have thought of a kind word or two. I might have even shared a smile. Sadly, I was not that enlightened, and I fear I probably just turned a blind eye and thought unkind thoughts about everyone involved. Kindness. It's such an important idea, such a simple thing, not to judge, but to be kind. My prison friend is in a place that is not known for kindness, and I sometimes wonder how he survives. I wonder how I would survive if I were in such a place. I wonder if I could keep my values if I were in prison. I wonder if anyone does. Even out here, kindness is often misplaced or lost for the flimsiest of reasons. So many times, folks judge one another rather than stopping to listen and hear. And we judge ourselves as well, seldom with kindness. I frequently am telling myself that I should or should not be feeling a certain way. I yell at myself for getting angry or annoyed. I think I should always have a calm mind that is above such petty feelings. But alas, I'm human, and as such, I often fall victim to being less than the better angels of my nature would have me be. For instance, I'm often frustrated or angry with folks who voted differently than I did. Sometimes I see them on the news and I want to tear their hair out. But that's not helpful to my peaceful mind, and it doesn't change their actions. I don't like the angry person that I become. I don't like the judgmental person who could even turn her back on her own brother because he has a different political philosophy. I forget his generosity, his contagious laughter. I forget what a good and loving father he has been to his son. Now, I have a right to my emotions. I don't need to yell at myself for having those feelings, but I don't need to let them rule me or act on them. I'm not bad to feel what I feel, but if I translate that feeling into judging my brother or myself, that is not helpful and does not promote peace. I'm perfectly aware that this makes me sound like a paragon of wisdom, intelligence, a true peacemaker, but the reality is quite different. I have to be reminded to be non-judgmental, and I certainly do not always remember to be kind. My prison friend and I have had long talks about such things. His situation is so much more difficult than mine. He cannot just walk away from someone who's bitter or angry or violent. He cannot control who is or is not a part of his life. So he works on mindfulness to keep himself even-keeled. And he reports that sometimes, even in prison, 90% of the folks will come around to at least be reasonable if one observes them without judgment. And of course, he often fails, just as I fail, just as you fail, because we are human. When it comes to mindfulness, we cannot expect perfection. We just do the best we can and then try again. My friend and I talk about how hard it is sometimes not to judge when someone is deliberately doing something terrible. It's so difficult to see that anger is often a cover for fear, frustration, or sadness. And he lives in a place where anger can quickly turn violent. I live in a softer world, a world where it should be easy to be kind. Yet I often forget. Now, I'm talking here like I think mindfulness is the answer to all my problems. I don't think that, but I do think it's a valuable tool. And a big part of what it makes it valuable to me is that it insists upon paying attention to the little details with kindness. It counsels patience, which seems to be in short supply in our culture right now. Sometimes I'm better at jumping to conclusions than in waiting to see what actually is. I make assumptions about other people's motives. And when I do that, I usually assume the worst. And that inspires defensiveness on my part. I suspect if I had the patience to stop and observe rather than judge, once in a while, I would be pleasantly surprised if I used kindness. And it's interesting to me that the very act of judging seems to destroy kindness. And conversely, kindness helps to defray judgmentalism. I have to admit there are certain actions that really push my buttons, and I want nothing to do with the individuals that do them. And that is probably wise. But do I really need to judge the person, even if I need to avoid them because of their actions? Of what use is that judging? I am reminded of the quote from Helen Prejean, Sister Helen Prejean, when she said, "We are each better than the worst thing we have ever done." I've done things I would not want to be judged by. I assume we all have. But isn't it wise to try and see the person rather than the horror? And kindness. How does one cultivate kindness? It seems that some young children are just naturally kind to animals, imaginary friends, and those around them. But we are not all blessed with that attitude from birth. I certainly wasn't. Whatever kindness I have in me had to be nurtured and grown. And I was lucky because I could learn kindness from those around me. Not everyone is that fortunate. It seems to me that kindness grows out of a certain amount of mindfulness, of being aware of what might be needed. As usual, I have no answers, only lots of questions. I am fortunate because somehow I've had the good luck to have people in my life who offer new thoughts to explore, who have different ways of looking at things and who challenge my perceptions. My prison friend, for instance, makes me aware of the struggles so many people face. And yet he gives me hope because he brings to my attention the possibilities we each have within us, even under the most difficult of circumstances. His very interest in mindfulness forces me to look at my own questions and issues and my way of dealing with them. So this morning, I invite you to try on a bit of mindfulness and a bit of kindness for yourself as well as for others. It can be a very good thing. So be it.
When our heart is in the holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy
In order to understand a concept, I often look around for role models. But in our culture, mindful people are not always easy to find. We are a hurry-up culture with little patience for patience. One of the few examples of a mindful person that I can think of is the protagonist in an old TV show, Kung Fu. It was the story of a lone individual wandering around the Old West. What was different is this person was a Shaolin monk, and he practiced mindfulness. He did not judge people, just their actions. And of course, being a TV show, he had to fight every single episode to bring forth justice. But nonetheless, the writers of that show did use perpetual mindfulness in the main character. I'm really sorry to bring that up. Kung Fu, of all things, it's a TV show. But when I think of mindful people, who else comes to mind? Maybe my fictionalized concept of Jesus. He would have been mindful. Or Gandhi, as he was portrayed in the movie. Wonderful characters. But they had script writers, and I do not. None of us do. Script writers can stop and think and reevaluate, make things work. We have to make it up on the spot. But we can do it. We are capable. We are loving, creative beings. And kindness is second nature to us if we will but let it grow. And so this day, I invite you each to be kind to yourself as well as to those around you. And now we take the light from the chalice into our hearts and let it express the love and community that we find here. Let us be the best that we can be together.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
It is now time for our discussion. You may want to place your screen in gallery view for this. And Diana Reed will lead us in our discussion today, and Reverend Byrd will be available. Diana?
Oh,